Have you ever left the house and noticed your cat quietly watching you go? Behind that gaze isn't indifference. It's a story you haven't understood yet. Those final moments before you leave can shape how your cat feels for the rest of the day. 1. The biggest mistake cat owners make. The biggest mistake most cat owners make is believing that cats are completely independent and don't care when you leave. On the surface, this seems true. Cats don't chase after you, they don't cry out, and they don't show emotions as openly as dogs do. But it's exactly this silence that leads so many people to completely misunderstand them. In reality, cats are not independent in the way we often think. They don't depend on you for constant attention, but they rely heavily on their environment and the familiar things around them. To a cat, the home isn't just a shelter, it's their entire world. And you're not just the owner, you're part of that world. When you leave suddenly, without any clear signals or routine, your cat isn't simply staying home alone. From their perspective, it's an unexpected change in their environment, something their survival instincts are naturally alert to. In the wild, anything unpredictable could mean danger. So the moment you pick up your keys and walk out the door isn't as small as it seems. For your cat, it can mark the beginning of a lingering sense of unease that lasts for hours, caused by a mistake most owners don't even realize they're making. 2. What your cat really feels when you leave. Many people believe that when you leave the house, your cat simply finds a corner and sleeps all day. And yes, you'll often see them lying still, eyes half closed, as if nothing is happening. But that's only what you can see, not what's actually going on inside. Cats are most active at dawn and dusk. These are the times when their hunting instincts are strongest. Ironically, this is also when you usually leave the house in the morning. That means you may be unintentionally interrupting one of the most important active windows in your cat's day. Instead of hunting, playing, exploring, or interacting, they're suddenly placed in a quiet, unchanging environment. No movement, no feedback, nothing to stimulate their mind. For humans, silence can feel relaxing, but for cats, prolonged stillness can feel like a confusing void. What's important to understand is that cats don't react in loud or obvious ways. They don't cry out or make a scene. Instead, they adapt quietly. But that silence doesn't mean they're okay. It just means you haven't noticed the problem. And during the time you assume everything is normal, feelings like boredom, lack of control, and unease may slowly begin to build inside your cat gradually, but consistently. If you found this video helpful in understanding your cat better, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss upcoming content. Comment 1 if your cat shows this behavior too, and share this video to spread helpful knowledge to the cat-loving community. 3. What you should never do. The one thing you should absolutely never do when leaving the house is leave your cat alone without any mental stimulation. It sounds simple, but this is one of the most common mistakes cat owners make every single day. Many people think that as long as there's a bowl of food and a few toys, everything will be fine. But the truth is, cats don't need those things in the way we assume. A toy lying still on the floor without movement or change quickly becomes meaningless to a cat, because their instinct isn't just to play, it's to hunt. In the wild, cats are wired to chase unpredictable movement, to stalk, pounce, and capture. That's how their brain is designed to function. Without those elements, they don't just feel bored, they lose the chance to release built-up energy and natural instincts. And when that energy has nowhere to go, cats will create their own stimulation in ways you might not expect. That's when you start seeing behaviors like scratching furniture, knocking things off shelves, zooming around at night, or even becoming irritable for no clear reason. But the most important thing to understand is this: your cat isn't being destructive on purpose. They're trying to rebalance their internal state, a problem that often begins when they're left in an environment that's too still, too quiet, and lacking the stimulation they truly need. 4. What bad behavior really means. When your cat starts scratching the sofa, knocking things over, zooming around, or even acting aggressively, most people think, my cat is being bad. But the truth is the complete opposite. These behaviors aren't the problem, they're signals. Cats don't act out because they enjoy causing trouble. They react because something inside them is out of balance. When they lack stimulation, feel a loss of control in their environment, or experience unease, their brain shifts into a state of stress. And since they can't express it in words, they release those emotions through actions. For example, scratching isn't just about sharpening claws, it's also a way to release energy and mark territory. Knocking objects over isn't random, it's often an attempt to create interaction or feedback from their environment. Overgrooming can be a sign of prolonged stress. Even sudden aggression may come from built-up tension that hasn't been properly released. What's important is that these behaviors are often misunderstood and handled the wrong way. Many people scold or punish their cats, but that only makes things worse. Because now, the cat isn't just stressed, it also feels unsafe. If you start seeing these behaviors as a form of language, you'll begin to understand that your cat is trying to tell you something. Not "I'm bad," but "I'm not okay." And once you understand that, you can finally help them in the right way. Here's a real story, what you didn't notice. One cat owner noticed something strange. Every time she came home, a plant in her living room had been knocked over. At first, she assumed her cat was just being playful or deliberately mischievous. But over time, it kept happening, in the exact same spot, at the exact same time. Curious, she decided to set up a camera to see what really happened while she was away, and what she discovered completely changed the way she saw her cat. The cat wasn't playing at all. It paced back and forth across the room, moving in slow, repetitive loops. Occasionally, it would stop and stare intently at the door. Sometimes, it would sit still for long stretches, as if waiting for something. There was no sound, no stimulation, no interaction. As time passed, the restlessness began to build. And then, almost like a final release, the cat walked over to the plant and pushed it over. Not out of mischief, but because it had no other way to release the tension building inside. This story reveals something important. Many behaviors we label as bad are actually the result of a lack of stimulation and prolonged unease. Cats aren't being destructive without reason. They're simply trying to cope with an environment they don't fully understand or control. 6. The science behind the behavior. To truly understand why cats react this way, you need to look at how their brains have been programmed through thousands of years of evolution. Cats are solitary hunters. Unlike dogs, which evolved to live in packs, cats developed to hunt alone, observe independently, and maintain control over their environment. Because of this, a cat's brain operates on a very specific cycle: stalk, chase, catch, eat, rest. This cycle isn't just behavior, it's a biological need. It allows cats to release energy, maintain mental balance, and feel a sense of completion. The problem arises when this cycle is disrupted. When a cat has no opportunity to hunt, no movement to track, no target to focus on, their brain doesn't simply switch into a relaxed state. Instead, it stays in a prolonged waiting mode, like a system that's constantly on but has nothing to process. From a survival perspective, a cat that can't hunt is a cat that can't control its environment, and that can be dangerous. That's why the restlessness and stress cats experience aren't random. They're natural responses from a brain whose instinctive needs aren't being met. Once you understand this, you'll realize the issue isn't your cat's personality. It's the fact that their natural cycle is being interrupted every single day. 7. The hidden emotional impact. There's something many cat owners don't realize. Cats don't just react based on instinct. They also form emotional bonds with you in very subtle ways. Not as loud or obvious as dogs, but deep enough to influence their mental state every single day. Cats build their world around familiarity: the sounds you make, your footsteps, your voice, even the small daily actions you repeat. All of these create a kind of rhythm that your cat learns to trust. And when you suddenly leave without any clear signals or routine, that rhythm is disrupted. This doesn't cause immediate panic. Instead, it creates a quiet form of anxiety, subtle, hard to notice, but constantly present. Your cat may still eat, sleep, and behave normally, but internally, a sense of unease is slowly building. Over time, this buildup can lead to small behavioral changes: less interaction, increased irritability, or simply becoming more distant without any obvious reason. And because cats can't express this directly, these signals are often overlooked. What's important to understand is that your cat doesn't need you to be there all the time, but they do need to feel that their world, including you, is stable and predictable. When you provide that sense of consistency, your cat won't just feel safe, it will also form a deeper, stronger bond with you over time. So, cats aren't as indifferent as you might have thought. Behind their quiet nature is a complex system of emotions and instincts working every single day. From how they react when you leave, to the small behaviors you often overlook, everything has meaning. Once you understand this, you'll stop seeing cats as low maintenance and independent pets and start seeing them as companions who need understanding. And sometimes, just one small change in your daily routine can make your cat's world feel much safer.